thanks to all the hardworking drivers across the U.S. from the Allen Len Company.
I want this to be a place that they get to come to rather than a place that they have to come to.
Welcome to Trucking with OOIDA. I'm Scott Thompson.
And I'm Ashley Blackford.
We're going to speak to Dean Ash, the voice you just heard there, the CEO of Truckers Paradise, which bills itself as I'm going to use quotes here, next level rest stop experience. And if you look at the list of amenities that they have down there in Texas and in Gainesville, I'd say they're on their way to making that a reality.
A paradise, if you will.
A paradise, if you will. Got more than a few questions for Dean about what they're doing down there and the model that maybe others can use throughout the country when, again, they're building truck stops with the idea of providing things for truckers. And they are certainly doing that down there in Gainesville, Texas. Looking forward to talking to Dean here in a bit. But Ashley, should we cover some news here first? It's been a little bit.
Don't think I can say no, can I?
You could say no, but I'm going to go ahead anyway.
All right.
So we are still monitoring the aftermath of that deadly crash in Florida that happened last month. I'm sure you've all seen the headlines and have been following this story. 3 people tragically killed when a tractor-trailer driven by Harjinder Singh made an illegal U-turn. Singh still behind bars, facing multiple charges, including manslaughter and vehicular homicide charges. The new development in this case is that the trucking company that employed Singh, California-based White Hawk Carriers, has been issued civil and criminal subpoenas in connection to the case there in the state of Florida. The state's attorney general there in Florida recently making that announcement. And what that means is the company will now have to submit business records, communications, any certifications related to the employment and licensing of Mr. Singh there. And at the center of this discussion, obviously, really is just how and why Singh was able to obtain a CDL after apparently entering the country illegally in 2018. So much more to come on this story, and we'll be following it.
For sure. The governor of Texas is cracking down on English language proficiency. Governor Greg Abbott recently directed the Texas Department of Public Safety to strictly enforce the English language proficiency requirements that have been set by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. This means that commercial vehicle enforcement troopers and inspectors will be doing language proficiency reviews for all commercial license operators on Texas roadways. The governor has also directed the Department of Public Safety to stop issuing intrastate commercial driver's licenses for drivers that cannot speak English sufficiently.
Yeah, I remain intrigued by the pace at which this issue has picked up in recent months, obviously spurred by a number of things. But we'll continue watching that as well. We've got also a pretty sizable recall to report here. We're talking nearly 14,000 Kenworth trucks that are affected. PACCAR says it's over an issue with the instrument panel and problems with warning lights and vehicle speeds not showing up right, which sounds like a problem. And apparently the digital display there also might be switching to a blue screen, which is recovery mode without warning. Obviously, that's a problem, and a problem apparently related to a software issue. Dealers will be making fixes free of charge. We should mention the vehicles affected include Kenworth T680, T880, and W900 trucks, all model years 2024 through 2026. Bad news, good news here. The bad, I should start with. Nearly, again, 14,000 trucks and all could be affected. Although the good news is that PACCAR believes just about 1% of that total will have the actual defect. Of course, you're not going to know if you are one of those unless you get it checked out. So that will be the next step in this process here.
And I assume letters are going out around Christmas.
Letters will be. I'm not sure it's that long. I don't remember. I don't have it in front of me. But yes, they will be going out at some point in the near future. I know that's a question mark for you always.
It seems
it's
to
why
be.
It takes that long. But,
No, that's good. I'm glad you're getting the word out.
Yeah, there you go.
We're going to get a look into what the Trump administration has planned for potential trucking regulations. This comes from the latest version of the Unified Regulatory Agenda that was recently released. One of the things on the list was about the Department of Labor's final rule on determining whether a worker is an employee or an independent contractor. The final rule on this took effect in March of last year, but part of the regulatory agenda states that the Department of Labor plans to rescind the previous administration's rule. The Department of Labor is projected to issue a notice of proposed rulemaking sometime this month. If you were hopeful the FMCSA would be implementing a stronger broker transparency regulation, you'll have to wait a little bit longer. In the regulatory agenda, it indicated that the agency plans to issue a second notice of proposed rulemaking in May of next year.
Gosh.
This
can just keeps getting kicked down the road.
It really does. As for automatic emergency brakes, FMCSA plans to go back to the drawing board and issue a second notice of proposed rulemaking at the end of this year in December. The regulatory agenda indicates that the agency plans to unveil a formal proposal on ELDs in May of next year. For details on any of these things, Mark Schremer from Landline Magazine did an excellent job breaking them all down, better than I did, I would say. So check out landline.media for that.
Yeah, that broker transparency issue, it's just frustrating that the can just keeps getting kicked
down
farther and farther down the road. Would love to see something sooner rather than later on that. Tired of waiting, but hopefully that will come sooner rather than later. Let's get into some quick hits here now. Ashley, been a while since we've talked diesel prices. They have been slowly ticking up for the past few weeks on the Energy Information Administration survey. Last week, diesel prices up across the board in the U.S., where the average hit $3.76 a gallon, about 3 cents higher than the previous week. Every region seeing prices on the rise, and where we're at right now, the diesel average is up 21 cents compared to the same time a year ago, which kind of surprised me when I saw it. But again, when you see the prices continue to kind of fluctuate, it seems like they're moving up more than they're moving down right now.
Yeah. Gone are the days of paper. USDOT has announced that as of September 30th of this year, FMCSA will no longer accept paper payments like checks or money orders. This is for any agency transactions like fees, reinstatement, or legal name changes, civil penalty payments, and everything else. So starting on the 30th, people will have to provide a debit or credit card. If you're wondering why the change, FMCSA says it's to support the White House Executive Order 14247, and that electronic payments are faster, more secure, and more efficient, reducing errors and administrative burden.
You know, one thing I like about working with you, Ashley, is I know, because we talked about this earlier, I know that this story got you riled up.
It did.
And we can talk about it a little bit later in the show.
I hope
but
to.
always
thoughts.
interests me the things that get you riled up. Because this is not one that I thought would have.
But it did.
But it did.
Yeah.
And
I've got thoughts.
You are ready to go.
I've got
thoughts.
thoughts.
We'll unleash you.
Stay tuned for those.
We'll give you a corner here near the end of the show after we talk with Mr. Ash about the Truckers Paradise situation down there in Texas. But one more quick news item to hit here before we take a quick break. We've had a lot of talking about truck parking of late. With that in mind, important to remind folks that the Truck Parking Safety Improvement Act is still in the House, still looking for some movement there. It just picked up another co-sponsor. Congressman Rick Crawford of Arkansas is the 45th co-sponsor in all, meaning there are now 23 Republicans, 22 Democrats who have signed on to this bill, truly bipartisan in nature, which is always good to see. Just a reminder, the bill would pump $755 million into building new publicly available truck parking spots nationwide. As we always do to get your elected member of the House on board, you really do have to reach out to them. You really do have to let them know why this matters, why it's important. And to do that, you can check out fightingfortruckers.com, which is really a one-stop shop for doing that.
Yeah, for sure. Quickly, if you're looking for a place to air out your grievances, look no further. The American Transportation Research Institute is conducting its top industry issues survey. The goal of this is to identify critical issues confronting the industry, develop strategies for addressing those issues. To find the survey and rank your top trucking issues, you can visit the ATRI website at truckingresearch.org.
Truckers Paradise got a little bit of everything in terms of amenities, which we just talked about, including free parking. I know there's been a shift there a little bit away from the paid parking model. Looking forward to talking to Dean Ash, the CEO of Truckers Paradise, right after this short, really short break. We'll get him on the line and talk to him all about it. As promised, we have Dean Ash, the CEO of Truckers Paradise, a truck stop in Gainesville, Texas. Really more than a truck stop there. We're going to talk to Dean all about it, and we've got him on the line. Dean, how's it going? You're down in Texas, right?
I am, yes. Gainesville, Texas. We're about an hour north of the downtown metro area of Fort Worth and Dallas.
How are things going down there? What's the weather like these days? Is it cooling off a little bit?
We have actually had a cooler than normal summer. And, normally we have, like in Dallas proper, we have, I think, an average of 18 days that's over 100 degrees.
Oh.
We've only had 6.
Oh,
compared to 1 year we had over 60 days over 100. So, we've even been cooler than some of the northeastern states.
Hey, you can't complain about that.
We've had good rain, so all the grass is green. So everything's good.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Ashley and I were just talking about Trucker's Paradise and what a cool concept this is. And we'll get into kind of, what the plans are moving forward here and how things are going. But if we could just start a little bit by talking about Trucker's Paradise and what it is, because again, I think it's a cool concept and one that, people are going to be excited about if they don't already know about it.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Well, let me just kind of start from the beginning and okay. So I think it sometimes takes an industry outsider, to come in and basically not know what the general rules are. Because if I was a truck stop operator, and I had done it the Loves or TA way, then I might be influenced to also do this, and incorporate a lot of those same ideas. But it's kind of like a blank slate in a way, and I didn't know it at the time, but it's like, okay, now I'm looking back on it, and how this got started. I realized, people are saying, "You're doing what?" So even Darren Schulte, of NATSO, came out to our property and he said, "Dean, I have to tell you that, for the first 15 minutes of our, when we had an hour-long conversation for membership, I was politely going to tell you not to do it, not to do what you're going to do." But he said, after I went through a full hour of talking with you about it, and then I came on site, because he actually came in on, for a 2-day period. And, after we'd already joined NATSO, and this was like June of last year, he said, "Okay, now I see the vision. And I said, I've actually been screaming at the rooftops for one of our own members to do something like what you're doing." And it's like, and I'm giving honor to the concept and to the truckers in this case. It's not necessarily me, because I've just kind of stumbled on something that, because my core is to treat everybody like a human being, like they deserve to be treated. And I think too often drivers are considered to be a commodity.
Yes.
And just anonymous, and they're just, that they just look at them as robots to come in and get fuel, get their hot dog, their energy drink,
get back to work. Yeah.
And get back out on the road. It's like, we just want to love on them, not in a weird way, of course, but, we want to, we want to take care of them. We want them to stay for as long as they want to, give them a reason to get out of their truck and walk around and get some exercise. And so that's where we're kind of bucking a lot of the trends, that are in the industry. And again, nobody's told me that I can't. It's just, I think that there's room for the hospitality aspect, that you give truckers what every other driver on the road, say their SUV or pickup truck, the families, what everybody else wants, and why they stop at Buc-ee's here in Texas and now other parts of the country, is for the clean restrooms. And so if we provide those things and we say, "Hey, we respect you, we want you to have the best possible experience," then maybe that turns into money for us, but
what were the reservations that were kind of raised to you? You mentioned that conversation where
the person was like,
they were like,
"Maybe
we're
you shouldn't
trying
do
to
this."
talk you out of it, but they eventually came around. What were the reservations that were kind of expressed to you early on? Because I hear you talking, and all these things sound great. And again, common sense. And if it's common sense and it's, looking out for people, typically that's good business as well. What were the initial reservations that were expressed to you?
Well, it is more kind of industry trends, looking at it from the standpoint of, hey, like the old Petro, big, huge, from the 80s, I guess. The large truck stops are kind of a thing of the past. They're more dinosaurs, but we're not looking to be just a truck stop. We're looking to almost become like a trucker village in a way, or we're in a sense bringing the city services that they can't access to them. But, what's neat about the property, and we've taken over an old outlet mall, that has a little over 300,000 square feet, in which we are using a little over half of for the trucker portion. But it serves the community as well. So, what Darren was saying is that, okay, you've got the right mixture of, where, probably about 70% of all the activity that goes on here is a third-party tenant. But everybody supports the common vision and goal of serving the truckers. And a lot of them here are specifically for the truckers. But like, for example, the laundromat, we're doing wash and fold for the truckers and targeting a 3-hour turnaround time so that, we are doing that so they don't have to be captive to a washing machine. And we're trying to give the unproductive time back to the truckers because it's very valuable. But what's neat is it works for the community just the same. So if the community wants a massage that's going to be opening up on Thursday, well, they can come and use it just the same as a trucker can. We've got 5 restaurants in the food court. The community loves that, same as the truckers.
Yeah.
So we don't have to exclude anybody. And we're also doing, like, if we have there's a former Applebee's in the front that's close to the frontage road on the freeway. We're actually going to turn that into like a quick trip, more for the 4-wheelers. And again, we do segregate the 4-wheelers from the truckers. And I think they like that. And they even have their own separate entrance to access that. So, we're also, where we've been exclusively mobile fueling, we're going to have a traditional fueling also added in the backside. So we're trying to give them as much of a complete package as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's
you
great.
obviously mentioned a lot of things that you have. Do you mind just kind of going down a list of the things that you are going to offer there, or you are offering?
Yeah. So the ones that we have in place right now, obviously a convenience store, which it's about 12,000 square feet in space. We're going to add a fruits and veggies section and some bread and some other things. Maybe even we're actually looking at a local butcher that will give us, like, either fresh refrigerated or maybe frozen cuts of steaks, chops, burgers, things like that truckers can go and use on their air fryer, to make if they don't want fast food. We'll have the urban option. But we've got we're talking to 4 states Chrome to come in and, to expand. We already have a Chrome section, but we're going to expand that. We have a cigar shop, or cigar, probably the largest humidor of any truck stop in the country. It's massive. And then we have a smoking area. It's like a separate lounge just for smokers. And that's inside so they can get out of the elements if it's too hot or cold. We have a lot of seating area outside. We are Caribbean themed, so we have kind of beach and palm trees everywhere with Adirondack chairs. And then we just signed up, and I can't. Things move kind of fast around here, so I don't remember the name of the company, but we just signed up a truck repair company.
Wow.
That will do more than just change tires and oil change. They'll actually do some engine repair. And we get asked at least once a day if we have a truck repair shop, that people can access. I think there's a lot of trucks out there that are in need of service in some way, and they probably try to defer that maintenance, maybe a little too long.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then, so we have under construction a 31,000 square feet entertainment complex. So I'm kind of going through building by building in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So at the end, that entertainment complex will house like pool tables, virtual golf, batting cage, axe throwing, darts. It'll have a couple pickleball courts, as well as a bar and some food options. And then even we have been approved by the city for a poker room.
Wow. Okay.
And we never thought we could attain that, but I mean, the mayor has been out here, the Economic Development Corporation. They've all toured the place, and so we've got tremendous support from the city.
You might have a problem because people may not want to leave when
Yeah,
they
I know.
get
They
there.
might come there and just be like, you know what? I'm just going to hang out here.
Is that a concern? Yeah, is that a concern? I'm hearing all these things, and I'm thinking, man,
I might take a
I might
trip.
just take a vacation there for a couple of days.
Yes. Well, that's the intention, is to come and stay, and this. I want this to be a place that they get to come to rather than a place that they have to come to.
Love that. Yeah.
And this is the perfect place to do a 34.
What?
Absolute perfect.
You said something early on that I think was interesting, in that I think you labeled yourself an outsider to this kind of industry, and you came in with an idea of something. And it sounds like you didn't quite know if it would work. It made sense in your head, and you got some feedback. But can you just walk us through, like, kind of how this began, maybe your background a little bit, and how it kind of led you down this path? Because all the things you're saying it sounds great across the board, and it addresses a lot of needs that are out there as well. But your background, how did it kind of lead you to coming up with all of this?
Well, and thanks for asking. I'm 57. I've been, with the exception of 6 years in the Navy, I've actually went in late in life and at age 29 in the Navy. So, I don't do anything conventional. And I think the more conventional that I do, that if I just wanted to own a franchise of a restaurant or something like that just by itself, I wouldn't do very well, because it's like I'm not able to put my fingerprint on it. But, it really make something that's different and unique as an offering. So I've always worked on projects. I've always, with the exception of the Navy, 6 years, I've always been in business for myself. And I kind of go by the beat of a different drummer, in a sense that, I recognize, you kind of know what your talents are, is what I've been told, by the things that frustrate you and the things that just come natural to you. So I'm sometimes I create, some complexity in the projects that I do, but they seem to work out more often than not. And so my core of who I am is that I love travel and transportation, which are two sides of the same coin, and then hospitality. So that's what drives me more than anything else in my life, is to please others, and give them an experience that they can't get anywhere else. I think that's the hallmark of who I am. And so and kind of the origin of this, I have a friend that's a 10-car car hauler, coast to coast, and he's been doing it for 25 years. And he and his wife live in the truck, and they don't own or rent any property. And when it burnt to the ground because of an axle fire, they became homeless. And I said, well, just get on a plane from Washington State and come to my house in Dallas. And they stayed with me for 2.5 months until they got back on their feet. Well, during that time, I got to learn really how much of a grinding and gritty lifestyle it is. And it's like how they get treated by, people that they try to park in certain areas and they get run off. They get their tire booted. They have attempted theft of their cars on a carrier, even in the middle of the day, much less nighttime. And it's like, okay, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a safer environment. There's got to be, a place that they actually feel welcome. And it's like, I think that there's a value, and I think this can be monetized, and I also then started, after I realized, okay, what I wrapped my mind around it, then I went to TxDOT, Texas Department of Transportation, and they had published back in 2021 a 150-page truck parking and amenity study that basically validated everything that I had thought that the industry was lacking. And they were phenomenal to work with, and they gave me a lot of tools that normally, isn't, they really went below the surface in terms of all the stuff, the data that they had collected. And it's like, well, this is 90% of what our due diligence needs to be in order to attract the money needed from our investors. So, and it turns out, the problem is a whole lot bigger than what I thought. So, we have basically made it a core principle of ours to also have free parking. free parking for people that are doing, their overnight and their 34. And we will never charge for parking for those two groups of people. Now, we do have some storage, for trailers that's on a weekly and a monthly basis in a different part of the area property, but we'll charge for that, but never for for staying overnight. So we're focused on trucker safety. And then I've been blessed to be connected with some people that actually just literally yesterday, one of my investors happens to have a best friend that knows Sean Duffy, Secretary of Transportation.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been our goal to work with the Trump administration to get some of the funding. And again, this is taking it to the really macro level, the 100,000 foot level, is that we want to duplicate what we're doing here. We want to perfect it, duplicate it, take it to other parts of the country, but then also be we're 1 mile from the Welcome Center since we're on the border of Oklahoma. Well, there's only 23 parking spots at that rest area. We would like to add free parking and maybe up to 750 trucks. So right now we have the capability of, diagonal pull through oversized spots of 6 feet on each side, not 6 inches, but 6 feet, and 186 of those. And then we can probably squeeze another, maybe 120 on the entire property if needed for overflow.
Wow.
But there's property to the south of us and to the west of us that we could probably jump that up to 700 pretty easily. And that's our goal, is maybe to receive some of those funds that are coming to Florida and Ohio already, is to maybe direct those where we can put a parking spot in for a third of the cost of what state government could, or the federal government for that matter. And then just, really just, we want to be put on the map for that purpose, and again, we're willing to go through that process, but that's kind of our long-term vision.
Yeah.
And again, we want to duplicate this, in other parts of the country. We're looking at Interstate 10, where it's 8 splits off and goes to San Diego. In that area, we're looking at taking distressed properties too and retrofitting them into something that the community can be proud of.
We're speaking with Dean Ash, CEO of Truckers Paradise, a truck stop, really more than a truck stop, in Gainesville, Texas. I want to talk to you about parking real quick, because you mentioned the fact that you are committed to free parking, which I don't know if you've been following. This has been a problem, I think is even a diplomatic way to say for a while. Truck parking crisis, the shortage is serious here. I think, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think the initial plan there did involve some sort of paid parking model. It sounds like you've since shifted to, again, free parking here. Can you talk about, I guess, maybe the evolution of that and how that kind of came to change over the past just several months, I guess, right?
That's correct. So I'm not mentioning any other organizations, but
Sure.
You can kind of let your mind go, let your mind wander on this. But originally we had teamed up with an organization that before because we just had essentially the full opening of the basic amenities that are common to most truck stops. So we had to have restrooms and showers and lounge, and then we had to have restaurants. We had to be able to feed the truckers in order to be considered a real truck stop. Back early in the year before all that was done, we had the convenience store open, and then we had fuel and truck wash. But we were just operating again on a very like a soft opening basis. And we thought, okay, the parking lot is not being utilized, so let's just throw it out there for anybody that wants to come park overnight, or 2 or 3 nights, maybe a week or something like that. And so we thought that might be a way to at least attract some business. It turned out that actually brought us almost no business whatsoever. I mean, we could have bought a couple of hamburgers with the money that we got from that.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, and then we learned how much of a distaste it is for the truckers to pay for parking, and that's the I've seen the surveys that people have done that is the most hated money that they are sometimes forced to spend. It's like that is, if we're really truly in on trucker safety, then I want to be 100% in. So it's like, okay, I'm distancing myself from any organization that would come in and want to charge for parking. And we will never charge for parking from this point forward.
That's a huge thing. I mean, I think it's interesting coming from our perspective in that, again, you said yourself you were an outsider to this, but you kind of came in thinking, okay, this makes sense to, charge for parking. And I understand that mindset as well. But it's interesting to me, at least, that you came to a realization pretty quickly that model was not going to work for you there.
100%. That's correct. And again, that bucks the trend. Even my investors are, we're saying, Dean, again, they're not in the industry either, but they said, "Are you sure about this?" And I said, "Yes, I'm 100% sure. I have," and I'm actually on site a lot, and I talk to a lot of the truckers, and that's actually my favorite time of the day is when, after hours, when the parking lot really fills up. I'm able to talk to the truckers, and it's a common theme. And I'll tell you without exaggeration, there's been a couple of truckers that have come on and so excited. Number one, to even be able to talk to a person that will spend time with them more than just, "Hey, welcome in," kind of thing. That my staff will take time to talk to a trucker because they are so cooped up in the truck all day long. But there's been some of them that have come to tears because they say there's somebody that finally cares about us. And I mean, that gave chills up and down my spine. It's like, this is why we're doing it. This is our why. And so it's become a passion, and it's like, I'm dedicated. My family's behind me, all of our investors. I mean, I think we're attracting the right influencers too, that's coming alongside us to support us too. And it's been tough. I won't lie. But the more that, since we have become open, that we do have, those new tenants that are coming on board, not the least of which is, a massage place that's opening up on Thursday, and a chiropractor that can do DOT physicals and things of that nature. Even sleep rooms. Eventually, maybe another 4 to 6 months down the road, we'll have some temporary, small, like a third of the size of a hotel room.
Yeah.
So those, it's making it to where it's okay. Those are things you can't put on a spreadsheet. That the interaction with the truckers and just seeing that they've got a safe place that they can just be a real person.
Yeah.
I think anyone listening would be surprised that you don't have a background in trucking or some relation, because you just seem to be hitting I would assume every box that a truck driver would like checked in a stop.
Yeah.
I'm curious, in the planning process, did you talk to truckers? Did you have input from truck drivers?
Largely no. And I mean, we did, and it's funny that you asked that, because I really had a lack of contact with truckers, because I've never had a CDL. I've never even been in a truck that's been moving down the road, other than just at a dealership, kind of looking around and, seeing it. But it's just the human aspect, and basically the lack of parking. I think that, plus then I had a friend that had a fuel contract with Valero that had enough ingredients to realize, okay, I can, as I move through this process. And then Darren, Schulte from NATSO was phenomenal in helping us to really, kind of hone in the vision. So, we've had really good people that come around us and that want to see us succeed. And so I've gained expertise through those people that say, okay, Dean, I'm on board with what you're doing. Anytime you need help, I'm there for you. So,
to Ashley's point, though, and I think that's kind of the theme here that I'm getting, is that you recognized that very early on, it seems like, that truck drivers are not treated well in a lot of places and in a lot of ways, despite everything they do for this country. And the thing I think is great about your business model is that it's so frankly simple. And I say that in complimentary ways, in that you're just treating people like human beings and you're seeing the things that they want. When they've got to take a rest break or they're getting off the road for whatever reason, you saw it there and you said, this is pretty simple, it sounds like. And the fact that you're doing that, I think is great. Obviously, you're not doing this out of the total kindness of your heart. I mean, obviously it's a business, but everything that you've done and seen over the past, several months or a year or whatever it's been now, what has surprised you, I guess, the most about the industry, maybe about how drivers are treated, anything across the board? Has anything just really just like made you think, wow, like that's amazing. I never realized that.
I think it's the personal stories, about how it's kind of come to me again, because I can identify with being in the Navy and being on a deployment, for a period of time and being away from family and the hazards of that job. I regard truckers as being, servicemen and women, that they are on deployment and they are the lifeblood of the country. And I'm very patriotic. And the full name of our company is All American Truckers Paradise. We just go by Truckers Paradise for short, but it's really with honoring Americans. And I think most truckers are, 99% of them at least are extremely patriotic. And so, I mean, the values that they have are my values. And so that's why I can really get behind and support those guys. And I'm an expert traveler myself, experienced. I've been to all 50 states. I love to travel. Anytime something is moving, I want to be in it. I've been to 14 countries, but I've also I've been to Dubai, for example, and that's all 5-star hotels. But then I've also stayed in some really sleazy kind of hotels because I've had to. Because
well, let's hear more about those experiences. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, yeah. Or
those are the best stories, honestly. When you stay in a bad place, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I know, and I've pulled, trailers and things like that. And so I can relate, at least in a small way, that's like, okay, hey, if I travel my SUV, I've got total freedom to go anywhere. But then if I add, I'm on a dually pickup truck and I'm pulling a fifth wheel, trailer or something like that, I'm drastically limiting the places that I can access. And then it's even huge, even much more, restrictive when you've got an 80,000 pound vehicle going down there. Where can you go? And it's like it's meant to be a place that it's meant to get in the place easy and get back out, and then be welcome. So that's the other thing is like some mega churches, around the country. You come in and you have people waving the signs, say "Welcome home." We're glad you're here. What's that same concept that we have on the property, where we actually, because we're Caribbean themed, we have a tiki hut as a reception area, and it's not a toll booth. It's just to basically, hey, if you're new here, we're setting the expectation. Here's some of the services. And some at the peak hours, we'll even escort the trucker to a parking spot, in a golf cart, that kind of thing. So it's really just, again, it's just the experience that we want to have. And I've been to Iowa 80. Love that. And I can't wait to go back.
Mm-hmm.
They do a fabulous job there. I understand, Jubitz is awesome. Little America is awesome. I've, given them plugs and kudos for what they do, but I'm not trying to be like them. I'm just trying to do something, what as Dean Ash, giving them what I see. And it's like, okay, I'm giving this. It's like, okay, tell me what you like, what you don't like, then let me mold and shape. So,
yeah.
Like the fruits and veggies, they say they don't have that
fresh
ability
food
to give fresher options. So it's like, okay, well, you're talking to the owner, and I don't have to run it through a committee, to make that happen, or the stockholders.
That's great.
I'll just go ahead and do it.
So you're out there most days, it sounds like, or a lot of days. Yeah.
I am. Yeah, I am, and I live in Dallas. It's about 75 miles away, and actually, we have a 25 spot RV park in which I do have an RV that I stay in during the weekdays with my wife's blessing, and she's great.
That's good.
Yeah,
So,
that's awesome.
and so yeah, so it's we're getting into a flow of things, and we're already got our sights set on other locations, like I said, but it's just working out. And again, it's not easy because we also have some limitations where I-35 is undergoing major. It's a 3-year project in front of our property, and we didn't realize it at the beginning. So we have signage issues and things like that. But we've got great people around us to say, okay, hey, we're using this. If what can be perceived as a handicap, we're actually going to go through and do some creative, signage, and we're implementing that next week. So
that's great.
How many truck parking spots do you have, and what is the process in, can you reserve those, or how does that work?
Mm-hmm. We are starting a reservation, reserving a section of those, but those will be unpaid as well, so at no charge. So we are not at the point yet where we are maxed out. So we are bringing that offering to the table soon. But again, it's not even required because we're not filling up our parking lot at night.
Right.
So, and again, that's due mostly to signage, like the blue freeway signs, that have been taken down, because of road construction and things like that. But again, we're working around that. 186, again, they're all diagonal. They're all pull through. Nobody has to back up.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have hash lines between the spots, and there's 5.5 to 6 feet on each side. And that's really more for safety than anything. And so that, staff, we're on our, mobile, tanker that we go around the parking lot. So we're not security per se, but we are patrolling the area for anything that doesn't belong here. We're big on that. We're part of Women in Trucking, and we want to for them to have a safe place to come. And I think that there's a loyalty there for that. And
sure,
long term, we're actually talking to the mayor about maybe having a substation of the police department here, and we'll give them a free office, and that just adds greater security to where it's like, okay, these people are serious about I know safety, that if I leave my truck, it'll still be there and untampered with when I come back.
That's
from
great.
Getting a shower. Yeah.
You strike me, Dean, as someone who's always thinking of ways to improve and maybe looking at new ways to do things. And I think, you've given more than a few examples of that. But you talked about the future plans for Truckers Paradise and different locations. Can you kind of talk about that? Are you looking at other places in Texas, other states? I think you maybe mentioned California earlier, but what does the future look like here?
Yeah. Look, we went to a conference, the International Convention of Shopping Centers, for example, out in Vegas last year. And we had the EDC of Fresno City and County, California, suburb of Salt Lake City, and suburb of Wichita, Kansas, all come to us, and say, hey, would you please consider coming to our community? We have a shortage of classy trucking amenities. We've got a couple of truck stops that aren't so clean. We need something that the community would respect, and that we would, we do want truck traffic, but we need the facilities to accommodate that. Since then, we've also, I've had a chance to speak to the Freight Advisory Committee at TxDOT in Austin, about our concept, and that created a lot of buzz where, some people that are, in Laredo, for example, they're saying you've got to come to every border crossing that there is in the U.S. in all the 4 states that border Mexico. That is absolutely critical. There's a shortage of truck parking amenities, so those are areas that we're looking at. There's an outlet mall in Conroe, just north of Houston on 45, that we're looking at, and then also the State Highway 130 toll road. We are in communication with them about creating, in their words, a badass truck stop. So
sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
And so, and then we've got a lot of people that, want us to come to, there's spots that they have in Florida, Mississippi, Tennessee, Pennsylvania, and I know that it's really critical up in the Northeast to have, for truck parking. So,
yes.
Understand probably one of the worst or the best sections for us to go into is maybe Kansas City as well on 70.
Yeah.
So
it's right around the corner here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Yeah, we can look at our office windows and see I-70 and all the construction that they're going through right now. So,
nice.
well, you clearly have a few plans in place. I mean,
Yes.
this is going to take some time, it sounds like, but I think every time I see something about what you're doing down there, I feel encouraged.
Yeah.
And certainly, I think the more support you get, the bigger message it sends to everybody out there that, hey, if you take care of people, they're gonna show up and give you business and use your services and everything else. So, Dean, applause to you and everybody working with you there for this idea and getting it off the ground. And it sounds like things are going pretty well for you, and we'll continue to watch that and hope they continue going well as well. But Dean, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
I would maybe add one other thing.
Yeah, of course.
Mind is that the industry, I think, is big enough that we're not and we don't we don't see other truck stops as being competition. There's so much demand, I think, out there, and we have found through, again, being part of the National Association of Truck Stop Operators, that there's actually a lot of people that want to help us and give us ideas and insight that we might not get otherwise. And my experience in this industry has been very welcoming. I don't see it as cutthroat. It's something that we can all work together for the support of truckers. And it's like, we're not, we want to uplift everybody that's supporting the trucking community. So, we have a road ranger, just a mile down the road, and we make friends with them,
Yeah.
Same with anybody else. So, it's just very complimentary, I think.
Absolutely. It's going to take everybody.
Yeah.
Dean, once again, thanks so much.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you maybe again here, I don't know, about a year or so and see how things are going, if that sounds good.
Okay. Love, if you're down this way, please stop by.
Will do,
Definitely.
for sure. Thanks, Dean. Appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Take care. Bye.
Again, that was Dean Ash, CEO of Truckers Paradise. Ashley, pretty cool thing they got going on down there.
Very cool. Yeah.
Definitely. We'll keep an eye on that. For right now, though, we're going to take a quick break. Trucking with OOIDA continues right after this.
Since you started, what you've loved about trucking is the freedom. Heading out on your favorite route, a good driving song, and thinking about truck insurance. Well, maybe not that last one. That's why we're here. At OOIDA, we have a full range of truck insurance products, expert advice, and great customer service, helping you get the right coverage for your operation. Go to OOIDA.com, because your job is to drive. Our job is to help with everything else.
At Truck Stop, we've built a better load board for carriers like you. Sign up today and access over 600,000 loads on the most trusted online load board. Learn why the best in the business rely on Truck Stop to make more money and start driving your profit today.
Dispatch, I picked up that load of steel, so I'm ready to roll.
Sounds good. Remember, we're getting paid by weight, so make sure to use a CAT scale.
I wouldn't weigh anywhere else.
Forget miss accuracy when your truck on a CAT scale.
House products provide your diesel with total performance and protection. Use Diesel Defender for a full system cleaning. Start treatment early with Diesel Treat to prevent gelling all season and protect yourself from winter emergencies with Diesel Lifeline. Stay moving with House.
Penske is the trusted source for quality used trucks. Whether you search our website, call our sales staff, or bid at our online auction, you are sure to find the right used truck for your business. Visit PenskeUsedTrucks.com to view our inventory and learn more.
Are you tired of the IRS following you around like a dark cloud? Call 888-557-4020 and get your life back.
Ashley, great conversation there with Dean Ash, the CEO of Truckers Paradise. I think the underlying message of all of this is if you treat people with respect, you treat them like human beings.
Genuinely care
about
makes
people.
A big difference.
And make it a welcoming, situation. People are going to want to come back and give you business. I love the fact that Dean mentioned he's there quite a bit too.
And just like chatting with
talking
truckers
with people.
And that's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. We spoke a little bit earlier in the show, off the top of the show, about FMCSA's pivot to electronic-only payments. And again, like I said, I never know what's going to get you all fired up. And this apparently is something that...
It's probably something that shouldn't get me fired up, but it did.
Got you fired up.
First off, I don't think it's necessary. I mean, I'm not going to contact FMCSA and
I'm just checking the calendar. It is 2025.
I know, but here's the thing. I have not written more checks than I have in the past. Like, I've upped my check usage this year. And you want to know why?
Yes, I do.
The fees. It mainly pertains to school.
Okay.
So the after-school program.
Sure.
It's like $250 extra if I pay with a debit card online.
Yes, they tack on that extra fee. I
Lunch,
get it.
$350. Lunch doesn't even cost $350. And that's extra. And if I'm putting money on their card once a week.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. You make a strong case.
Oh, so I'm writing checks.
That you can cash.
Yes.
Right,
well, yeah.
That's a good point. There is all these fees, and it does. Now that you say that, my conspiracy mind is going. I'm like,
what are they?
They're
what
trying
are we
to
doing?
trying to get the extra fees.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are they going to charge fees? Because if they are,
that's a good question. We should reach out and find that out, and we can fill people in.
Am I going to have to pay a fee if I have to?
So how many checks?
Civil
how many
penalty?
checks do you write per week?
At least one.
Well, okay.
But no, I would say 5, 6 or 7.
Yeah, that's a lot. I
and
mean,
one thing that bothers me too, that you have to pay for checks.
Yes, you do.
That I don't know. Something didn't sit well with me there.
When you had to pay for the checks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
it just seems.
They got to get their money somehow.
I know.
To print it and put it out and everything. Okay. Well, now that you make your argument, and it makes sense to me.
I
get it. Yeah. But you're also living in a world where people don't write checks. I mean, people don't write checks anymore.
No, I know.
I'm down to writing like one check every maybe month or so.
Yeah, no.
It used to be I'd write a check for every, like the electric bill, gas bill, mortgage, all that stuff.
Yeah, now that if it can come out automatically, that's fine. But it's when you hit me with a fee, that's when we've got a problem.
You break out the checkbook.
That's when I break out my checkbook.
And your angry face.
Yep.
Your angry mom face. Fine, I'll just write you a check.
But you
don't write checks in the grocery store line.
No.
Okay.
The one thing about writing a check that bothers me is like, when are they going to cash it? But I mean, I keep a close watch on the account.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier too. I still balance my checkbook with all the debits that come out.
I'm not even entirely sure how I would do that. I do my banking, but.
Sure. I bet if you asked any person under the age of like 25,
they would
30,
have no idea.
They have no idea what we're talking about. I did write a check in front of my kids once, and it was like I was like I had just landed from a different planet or something. They were like, "What are you doing there? I was like, "This is money." And they're like, "No, it's a piece of paper." I'm like, "Well, that's what money is."
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, on our next edition of Old Person Corner,
I will contact FMCSA and find out if there will be fees.
Yes,
and if there are. This is a whole other issue.
They're going to get an earful from Ashley Blackford. They're going to get a strongly worded email. Well, there you go. Well, you can look forward to that on our next show. We'll get something else to get Ashley Blackford fired up and get her going. But thank you for listening, and thanks for all you do out there. We'll see you next time.
Thanks. Today's episode of Trucking with OOIDA was brought to you by a dedicated team of people that includes Jim Fetzer, Tennille Flick, and Kim Boren.
You got thoughts? We'd love to hear them. You can call us at 1-800-324-6856 and leave us a message, or send us an email at podcast@ooida.com, and we might just include it on the show.